back to that Central Bucks West game, Norristown came out. Damon Carroll in that game, 13 carries for those 30 yards. Tonight, 12 carries already. What happens to Norristown in games like that where they don't get their main man the ball?
You can say that that's the case. That's the problem. Roger Grove is a veteran coach. He must have seen something. We knew that from the other side of the ball, the Bucks knew that they had to stop Carroll, and they were doing everything that they thought was necessary to stop him, and it worked. And as I said to you before, that's execution. The thing that Norristown apparently didn't do was adjust to that execution and adjust to that defense. But this is another game, and look at this.
And that's Mark Hackney bringing the deep kickoff by Morano out to the Bensalem 25-yard line. And the Owls will try and just get back to the basics, as Roger said, and have some fun and just try and execute their offense, not trying to get too much back all at one time.
Now, Hackney, there was a good example. I'm sure that got picked up on our screen. And what happened was Hackney was running to the right. He got slowed down by a back who missed him, but was able to slow him down just enough, that one step, so that the next man that reached him tackled him and got him before he was able to gain anything at all.
So the Owls come out. Number 28, Ted Minibach at quarterback. They hand off to the first man up in. And he breaks it loose, this time to the outside. Tackled out there by number 1, Omar Jenkins, and Joe Thompson up close to a first down for the Owls.
Good play action that time by Minibach. He looked as if he was handing off to another man in the back, and in fact, the fake handoff drew 2 tacklers while the ball runner was able to make a first down.
So they do come out with a very solid play to start the second half. And it is 1st and 10 up at the Norristown 36-yard line. Backs in the eye once again for Minibach. This time quick throw out to the right side. Intended receiver overthrown just slightly. And that was number 3, Rob Dunner.
You see, here again, the Owls are starting to mix up their plays a lot. This is going to give a little test to the Eagle defense, and they're not going to worry about running it off right tackle, running it off left tackle, finding a hole up the center. That time you saw a short pass over the flat, out into the right flat, and all but caught.
Well, those short passes working well for Bensalem in the first half. Looks like they're going to try it again, this time a little bit deeper. Ball is overthrown and picked off. That's number 84 down there, his second interception of the game, Frank Williams.
I don't know if he plays basketball for you in the wintertime, but if he doesn't, he should. He just made a leap for that ball that would have put him in right at the hoop and dropped that ball through. He jumped high and picked that right out of the air before it went out of bounds.
Well,
A nice interception by
And the only other man back there was number 1, Omar Jenkins, who was waiting for it for an over-the-shoulder interception. And Williams, as you said, leapt up and got it. And now Norristown right back on offense as Minibach throws his first incompletion of the second half after 8 for 10 in the first half. Pitch out to Carroll. Carroll cuts it back up inside for a sizable gain, about 7 yards. And it'll be 2nd and 3 for the Eagles.
Yeah, that play amazed me a little bit. Of course, Carroll picked up good yardage on that, but he cut inside. It looked like if he'd just taken another couple of steps outside, he would have been able to get around the wide defenseman out there. But you never could tell. He probably saw a hole up the center that plugged up and a bit faster.
Well, they said Damon Carroll with great vision and probably looking at that big guard, number 66, Jeff Fisk, to seal off that middle for him. And you will often see Carroll, even with his great speed, try and break runs up the middle. And surprisingly, that's where a lot of the big ones come from. So now Norristown, 2nd and 3. They give to Carroll. Carroll spins away from the first tackler. Up over the 45 to the 43 for another Norristown first down.
Have you ever heard the expression, a whirling dervish?
Absolutely.
Carroll was that personified in that play. He just absolutely spun out of there. And when you're going at the speed that he goes, when you start spinning like that, it's very difficult to hang on to something. Maybe he should get handles.
So they wouldn't want to be playing flag football against him with those flags flying.
No.
And really tough to bring down. when you got to do it physically. So now Norristown 1st and 10 from the Bensalem 43.
What's this?
Pitch again. That's to Thompson. Thompson absorbs a couple tacklers and goes up over the 40-yard line, adding to his totals. And I made the mistake of saying that Ted Minnebach was 8 for 10 in the first half. He finished at 9 for 13.
A good play that time by Thompson, and I don't know how much slower he is than Carroll. He's a couple of steps, but in football it doesn't really matter. He gives him the same type of speed, and when you have Carroll going out in front of or in front of Thompson to block, you got a dangerous combination.
Yep,
Bensalem a little anxious that time, Walt, and they just went over the line a little too far, a little too early, before the snap, oh boy.
Well, it's difficult for the Owls as the Norristown's really mixing up their backs well and using some misdirection and keeping them guessing, keeping their offense fresh. That time the Owls, with one of the rare penalties in this game, jumped across the line.
5 yards there. Just be 2nd and 1 now. Tell me, when you coach soccer, do you have to speak with a British accent or anything like that?
No, that's not required. No, there are no hooligans hanging around the Norristown Recreation Soccer League.
Well, I didn't think so, but it's the real football, the round type.
Actually, we lost today, so maybe if I spoke with a British accent, they'd buy what I'm telling them a little better. I might try that, in fact. And that handoff goes nowhere, as Norristown was plugged up that time. Thompson again.
Thompson was never able to get ahead of his team that time as the linebackers moved up, and you keep calling out the same names over and over and over again, and that time was Minnebach that filled into that hole in a hurry and didn't allow Thompson to pick up any yardage.
Well, Minnebach playing the deep safety for Bensalem, and they're bringing everyone up there to try and halt that Norristown rushing game and get the ball back. But that Norristown line, that experienced line with Jason Fabian and Dave Fazzini up front. This time Carroll cuts it back, twisting and twisting up over the 25-yard line, and that's another first down. Some tough yards by Damon Carroll.
And if he didn't run into Rob Dunner, he probably still would be running. Dunner was back there, and Carroll had just broken out of a tackle and ran right smack into Donner, who was just standing there and saying, "Oh, by golly, I'll take credit for that tackle now." I do believe the Sirens are playing for that last run.
All right, here we go.
They're the red lights you were talking about for Damon Carroll.
There you go.
And now the pitch to the outside goes to Carroll. This time he puts his head down and tries to churn out some more yardage. About gain of 3 before he's brought out of bounds. Jeff Fisk out leading the way, and it'll be 2nd and 7 for Norristown.
And Donner, there was the man that was there again to stop him. There again, Donner doesn't do it very fancily, but he gets the job done, and just proves the interference.
No, we have him listed as a sophomore, 5'10", 155. So any tackles he's going to be making, he's going to be looking to go low and not challenge up high, but so far, a very good tackler. Norristown now 2 backs. Fake the pitch. This time they go up the middle, and Thompson grabbed even before he gets the ball, struggles forward for a couple yards.
I have a strange feeling somebody didn't get their signal straight on that, and it could have been the Norristown front line because they were in on top of the quarterback, Niedesick, in a hurry that time, and he was unable to really give the fakes that he wanted to give.
But Norristown still got the playoff, managed to not fumble that ball despite the players in there on top of them. And we'll have 3rd and 5, 5.5 left to go in the 3rd quarter. Niedesick looking out to his left, throws downfield through the arms of Rich Hicks as it was a little bit behind him. Good defense that time by number 83 for the Owls. That's Charles Maddox. And the Eagles will be faced with 4th down and 5 yards.
I never realized that he's a left-handed quarterback, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
No wonder he can't throw. No, lefty can't throw. No, I'm only kidding, of course. But he got that ball pretty much on the money, just a little bit behind the runner. Carroll is now 14 carrols for 167 yards. 14 carries for 167 yards.
No, that's a distinctive style when they start naming it after you.
Yeah. Well, that's what they do in ice skating, isn't it? The axle.
I don't follow the sport, Roger, and that one's picked off over the middle. He was looking that time for number 83, Kevin Shell. And the ball, again, this time thrown a little in front of the receiver, and Nidasek is picked off. And then the ball will go over to the Owls.
Yeah, the ball goes over to the Owls, and not in such good field position. They're going to take it on their own 10-yard line. But a nice interception there by the man in the secondary. He just waited and brought that ball in.
And we do have a flag on the play.
Oh, yeah? After the interception, a personal foul against Norristown. I bet he said, "Oh darn, you should, something."
They'll get you for anything in high school, Roger.
Like that, right?
So
darn, why did that happen? Something.
So that it does improve the Owls' field position up to the 25-yard line.
Bingo.
They try and go quickly right up the middle with the handoff. That goes nowhere.
Lost a couple of yards on the play. As a matter of fact, he go back to about the 24-yard line, making a loss of 1. But there again, a good, quick reaction on the part of the Eagles stopped that play before it got underway.
Well, Roger, it looks like that Bensalem line really just can't get the Eagles off the ball and can't get their running backs any kind of space. So
the Owls working out of the eye.
Yeah, pretty much exclusively tonight, and as they go out of it again with the man in the slot, they throw to that man in the slot. Quick hitter, but he's met there by number 89, Al Zone for the Eagles, and that picks up about 4 yards.
See, now, that's what they're trying to teach Randall Cunningham to do in that other Eagle team. What the Philadelphia Eagles? Quick pass into the flat like that and getting the defense before it can set up.
Well, Minnebach does that pretty well at 6'2", seeing over his lineman, and that's what allows him to have such good efficiency numbers, as we said, 9 for 13 in the first half. But not picking up a lot of yardage, and they're faced with 3rd and 5. This time the handoff is fumbled. There's a pile up there, but I believe the running back got it back.
And a little draw play that time didn't work at all as the Minnebach, when he put the ball into the hands of the intended runner, missed on the exchange. That was just that simple.
So the first time we've seen them go to the draw tonight, and it looks like they were a little bit mixed up on it. And now number 28 for the Owls. Well, is that 28? That's Minnebach. If it's 28, we'll be in to punt. Minnebach with a low kick off to the right sideline, takes a good Bensalem bounce. Rich Hicks wisely lets it go as that ball was skidding along the ground. And it's all the way down to the Norristown 32. So a very good roll by Minnebach. And Norristown pinned back a little bit after what looked like it was going to be a good field position. A 42-yard kick.
A 42-yard kick, but, there's so much temptation there when that ball is squiggling along the ground like that, right at your feet, to bend over and pick it up. And actually, it's dangerous. Not only do you have a good chance of dropping it, but it also has a good chance of just bouncing up and hitting it. You should get as far away from that as you possibly can.
So now we have Frank Williams, number 84 for the Eagles, split out wide with 2 backs in the eye. They go to Carroll up the middle. He's hit immediately at the line of scrimmage. And Damon Carroll, a rare run for no yardage in this game tonight.
It would seem to me that the Eagles want to roll out a little bit more. Bensalem is taking the easiest of the defenses and plugging up the middle, cutting that off. Now they have to put the runners out around the end, and it doesn't matter which one it is, Thompson or Carroll. They're going to pick up some yardage. On this side of that line over there, we have Dunner. They tried to run against him. Maybe they should try the other side. Here he comes now. Let's see.
That was Carroll going to the outside. And that time, as he tried to cut that back into the middle, number 63, Sean O'Malley for the Owls, came up and met him. And again, Carroll with very little yardage.
O'Malley came up, but Donner was the second line of defense at that point, but they were coming around this end as we thought that they would. They haven't been doing too much around this end here in the second half. Maybe they want to try the other end that they were using so effectively in the first quarter.
Now Norristown on the near side of the field, right hash mark. The give is to Carroll, and he does go to that left side, struggling to break some tackles, but he's not going to get free after a gain of about 1 yard line, or excuse me, gain of about 1. And Norristown will be 4th and 7, a good defensive stand by the Owls, Roger.
You've got to give the Owls a lot of credit here. As I said, they're coming out, they're having maybe a little more fun there, they're reacting very well. They're coming up. They've stopped this drive. Norristown unable to move the ball here. 4th down and 8. And we only have 39 seconds remaining here in the quarter. Nice thing about these running games is that they move fast.
So with no
Carroll
incomplete.
In this quarter is 7 for 29.
And a big kick by Damon Carroll. That punt is allowed to bounce, and now the Owls will just stay away from it. That rolls down to the 20-yard line where it's picked up by the Eagles. So Damon Carroll matching Minnebach's punt. That one was 45 yards. And the Owls will go back on offense after a good defensive series.
So really, after running rampant the first half, the Owls have slowed down Carroll here in the third quarter to 29 yards on 7 plays. Now, a lot of backs would be satisfied with that kind of yardage, 29 yards on 7 carries, but it certainly isn't up to Carroll's average.
We have whistles before the play.
Yeah, and this guy blew it all the way out here someplace. Now, what did he see that somebody closer didn't see?
Yeah, that's the end of the third quarter.
Oh, okay, that's what he saw, the clock.
Right, that's right, and he's all the way out there probably just for that reason. So they'll change sides as the Owls don't get that play off. And we'll have 12 minutes to go with Norristown leading 26-7. And Roger, a big surprise there, no scoring in that quarter.
That's right, but the other thing is that the Owls have come out, they've made some adjustments, they've been able to shut down the Norristown attack a bit. And you got to give them a little credit there because they trailing 26-7 at the end of the half. They're still at 26-7, and this is the first period in which the Eagles did not score.
And the Owls will start this quarter, of course, with the ball at their own 20-yard line. So let's preview the remainder of the Norristown schedule for you while we have a minute here. The Eagles
Who does Norristown play next week?
Next week, they will be at home Friday night against Neshaminy.
Should be a good game. They should have about a 26-0 lead at the quarter of that game.
Well, so you'll want to come out for the excitement then, if not the suspense. As Minnebach keeps this one around the left side. That play looked a little bit broken. Ra-Ra Lusain out there to bring him down after picking up a first down. So Minnebach, a nice job of making something out of nothing there.
And we know who they play 2 weeks from tonight.
2 weeks from now, as you've said, they will be at CB East, back for a visit to War Memorial Field, and a game at that time that'll be just as big as the West game was.
It will be, because right now Central Bucks East tied for first place with Central Bucks West. Central Bucks East has Abington next week, a game they should win. Central and Norristown with Neshaminy, a game they will win.
So there are your predictions out on the table for the next couple of weeks. Should be some exciting Eagles football. This time Minnebach rolling again left. Oh, almost a great catch out there on the sideline, but a little bit high. Couldn't bring in the one-handed grab.
Of course, he didn't know it, and he was under pressure and rolling out to his left, but he had an open receiver in the middle of the field that was wide open. If he could have only seen him and just changed direction a little bit, picked up a secondary receiver, he would have had possibly another score.
But Minnebach that time looking strictly to the sidelines. Now faced with a 2nd and 10. And he will roll out again, this time stop and hit his receiver, Joe Thompson. A big hit there, knocks the ball loose, but it looks like Thompson may have fallen back on it. And it looks like they'll give him the catch, but the fumble will take him back about 3 yards from his initial spot. and it'll be 3rd and 5 for the Owls.
Yeah, they got it on the sideline over there, and he had some interference, but he was able to bring it down. They dropped that pole in a hurry and got out of his way on the yard marker. But once again, and you know why the receiver is open too. Play action to the left, rolling to the left, throwing to the left. They had wide receivers up the middle, or open receivers up the middle.
So Minnebach will look again for those receivers. This time he finds them again. Joe Thompson, same play as last time. This time Thompson finds a little more room down the sideline, takes it down out of bounds to about the 38-yard line. A fairly big gainer for the Owls when they're moving the sticks once again.
For some reason, the Norristown don't think it's necessary to cover Thompson the way they should. They're giving him plenty of room on the sideline, and Minnebach is finding him, and he's not making any big secret about where he's going with the ball. He's looking over there and throwing.
Well, so the Owls showing the desire to throw to their backs some out of the backfield. Roger, what do you think about a team like the Eagles with the talented backs they have throwing to their backs a little more, particularly when the running game is stopped up?
Yes, yeah. Right now.
So now 1st and 10 again. Minnebach rolling right where he's had some success. That pass is thrown low, and from the reaction, looks like the catch is made over there, out of bounds at the 30-yard line. And another good catch, that time number 12. That was for the Owls, Jake Soley.
Yeah, I would think to answer your question, I kind of put you up a little bit, but to answer your question, I would think that the Eagles would want to work with their passing attack a little bit. With a score like this on the board, it really doesn't matter how much you win by. You might as well use your game conditions to improve the facets of your game that need improvement. And I would think that you would want to, with a running attack such as the Eagles have, passing attack would certainly be to their advantage.
So the Eagles certainly will have some freedom once they get the ball back, but right now the Owls grinding out some yardage. That time, short run for 2 yards gains them the 1st down.
But they're not going to have as much freedom as you think if they don't stop this drive here pretty soon. This drive goes down, and the Owls get on the scoreboard again. You got a 26-14 score, and that doesn't give you as much room to operate then, or experiment for that reason.
This time the pitch out is a little behind the runner Bradshaw. Bradshaw managed to fall on it, as Bensalem has done all night, falling on their loose balls. And that time, the option not quite in sync.
Well, now we got a loss, and 2nd and 13. You know, Minnebach is going to go to the air. The Eagles should be looking for that now, and the couple of people they don't want to give too much room to are Thompson and Soley. They keep them covered. Put an umbrella over those two backs, and that's it. Minnebach is now, hey, listen to this. Minnebach is now 12 for 17 with 2 interceptions, 152 yards.
And his main targets have been Thompson and Soley. This time he's looking to the right side, looking deep. Oh, spins around his receiver. That was number 85. And we don't have an 85 listed here, but certainly beat the Norristown defenders, getting in behind them. And Minnebach threw it over the other shoulder, and the pass falls incomplete.
86 maybe. No, it's 85, and we don't have one, as you said. But there again, you got to blame that on the receiver. He was out there open. He turned around, and then a little too early, taking another step. It was right there, and would have come in over his shoulder. He'd have been in the end zone.
So the Owls surprisingly going deep that time behind the Norristown defense. Now with 3rd and 13. Minnebach will roll right. That time finds his receiver right at the chains. A nice catch by Soley down there. And they'll move the chains.
Watch out for Soley and Thompson. That was Soley. He knew exactly where he was. He knew he had a 1st down. He was clear, and they cannot give him any room to operate. They've got to keep the guy under protection and defend against him. Then Thompson. They'll occasionally throw to another receiver, but as you saw, when they did, the receivers aren't as experienced as those two.
So that's certainly a senior connection that's working well. Now we have whistles. And it looks like a timeout called by the Eagles.
I don't think so.
There's a referee's thing.
Just a field timeout by the referees, and we're back to play. This time Minnebach around the outside finds a hole looking for the end zone. And he's in.
Yep.
A nice job by Minnebach to spot that hole in the option, keep it himself, blast through a couple Norristown defenders, and now with 7:46 to go, the Owls have put up another touchdown. It's 26-16.
Yeah, now wait a minute, we have a whistle down there. Carroll came out of that backfield in a hurry. He didn't like what was going on. There's an injury on the field, and we're going to take a look at it. But nevertheless, Minnebach rolled out very well that time. They had to be, Norristown had to be playing the pass because he has been throwing. And of course, it was an option on the quarterback option. And he just kept the ball and got the hole that he needed to make the touchdown.
And that time down in that collision was number 69, Mike Childs. Those whistles were to stop the clock as he is down and being attended to. But as you said, Roger, Minnebach really runs this offense well and so far has been making smart decisions. As you said, he just doesn't necessarily have all the talent around him, has a couple really good targets to go to, but doesn't have the running game to support it.
Well, and that's right. And that time, that's the second time he's really run the option tonight. Both times he's run it to perfection. I'm assuming that he ran it a couple of more times, that it was just wasn't run to perfection, and we didn't notice that was the case. But nevertheless, the times when it was obvious, it was because he made it work so well, and that was one of the cases right there. We do have a player down, as you indicated, and I imagine it was just a case of having the wind knocked at him a little bit. You know what I've noticed, though? It has gotten brisk here tonight.
It's an
early fall. More statistics from our statistical connection, Dwayne Dobas.
They just keep coming.
10 plays that drive was. Covered 80 yards in 4 minutes and 31 seconds. Minnebach was 4 for 6 for 49 of the 80 yards. And he had 2 rushes for 32 yards, including the touchdown.
Well, you have to say those kind of numbers are certainly statistics that...
It looks like the Bensalem Minnebachs here tonight against the Norristown Carrolls and Thompsons.
Yeah, but those kind of numbers, an impressive drive like that, are the kind of figures that are going to put Bensalem right in the middle of the pack in Suburban 1, certainly not up at the top. But as you said, they've beaten the Chamonix this year, and that's going to give them the ability to hang with some of the middle teams and beat some of the worst ones. As now Mike Childs is up, and it unfortunately looks fairly serious as he's being helped off. Actually, I'm sorry, it looks like we can't tell if that was 69 or 89.
Yeah, well, let me see if I can find a 69.
I think it looked like 89, and that's linebacker Al Zone for the Eagles, who's been was a rock last year for the Eagles in the linebacking core, and now looks like maybe a loss to the Eagles.
Well, it looks like a sprained knee in any event, and it is number 89, and that would, as you say, be Al Zone, a 6 foot, 185-pound junior tight end and defensive end, and it looks to me like that's the way he's being helped there, a knee. And now the try for the extra point.
And it'll be Frank Lombardo trying to make it a 26-14 lead for the Eagles, and the kick is good. So now Bensalem down by 12 with 7:46 to go on an impressive drive.